Welcome to part 2 of my E30 BMW roof replacement. Just a wee bit of information on the car to start off with. I bought it with a CA18 DET Nissan engine in. I've since then done a hell of a lot of work sorting out the original project, and it's gone through the certifying process. And this is one of the last things I've got to do to get the vehicle certified. When I bought the car, the sunroof and roof had significant rust. I had a fair bit of work to do on the car, so I felt I'd just patch the roof to start off with and get it into a situation where the roof wouldn't leak. So you see the picture above, the two orange parts, the front corners, they had significant rust, patches, holes, etc. The sunroof itself wasn't in bad condition in the middle, but the two green shaded parts were basically just rotten through. So they were cut out and replaced with new metal, and then around the edges of the sunroof, as indicated by the yellow line, basically that was just welded. When I welded it, I put a bit too much heat in it, warped it a bit, but it was just a patch up job. So finish it off, ground it down and put some filler over it so that it would look okay if I was driving it around. Didn't really want to attract any attention because I didn't have warrant or registration. And that was in place until certifying. Once I certified it, the certifier said that basically that part of it needed to be sorted, so I either had to repair the whole lot or just rip out the roof and put on a new roof. I never really wanted to retain the sunroof. Sunroofs, I don't mind them, but it's just inherently brings a problem of rust and sealing, the whole thing, etc. So I always wanted to go down the route of putting a non-sunroof roof in, and that's why I'm replacing it. So in part 2, I'm just going to show you how to remove the sunroof cassette. What you're seeing here is after some of the roof's been removed, just for the start sequence. Just want to show you all of the rust before I got into what I actually did. You can see here, once I removed the roof, I really realised just how much water had got in and how much damage had been done. I thought it was just the sunroof cassette that would have to come out, but there are other bits of the roof that will need to be cut out and replaced, or will need significant work. Here's just another photo of the areas that I could see at the start and the issues I had with those. Knew about those, but really glad I took the roof off and am replacing it, as underneath there's a lot of other areas that there were issues with it. Alrighty, let's get started on part 2. So I had a 3mm drill, drilled around the edges of the sunroof cassette from inside the vehicle, then lined up all the holes on the top of the vehicle, then got my grinder and ground those marks. This enabled me to cut all the way around the cassette and remove it. Obviously, some people will look at this and might want to keep the cassette. There's lots of information that can be found online on how to remove it. It was rusted, it was in pieces, so there was never any doubt it was always going to be easier just to cut the cassette out. This also meant that I'd be able to have a good look on the inside on the best way to get off the roof on the sides. The sides are welded, and that was always going to be my issue. The front spot welded, the back spot welded. It's just the sides that were continuously welded all the way down the sides, and I've got a plan to resolve this, and you'll see that as we progress. This clip here is just showing you I've cut the roof, but there's 3 tabs holding the sunroof cassette in. This is me just carefully cutting those 3 tabs. I also forgot the sunroof drain hoses. I had to cut those off as well before I could take it out. The next part of the process was to remove the spot welds at the front. I just used a 3mm drill, centre punched, then a 3mm drill, then a flattened off 6mm drill, I believe it was. And in part 3 I'll run through in more detail how I removed the spot welds. Once I drilled through those, I used a brass spatula just to separate the 2 bits of sheet metal, and to just run it across there, and they popped out. If they didn't pop out, obviously I need to take a little bit more off, but best way to go with spot welds is just nice and slowly. You obviously don't want to cut through the bit of sheet metal underneath, because that's the bit you still need, whereas all the roof parts for me were just disposable parts. In this clip here, I'm just cutting above the welds on the side. Basically, I'm just trying to remove as much as the roof as I can before I start figuring out how I do the sides here. You can see the sides there. I've just cut off the roof to get a good look at what the roof looks like. And in part 3 I'll be showing you how I remove the bit of the roof skin that's left there on the side that's been welded. That's the tricky part of the whole process. So this part here, I'm just removing the 3 tabs on either side for the sunroof cassette. They were just welded in place. I've got to remove those, and then from there I then cleaned it up a bit with a wire brush. Then, as you see here, once the door opens, I applied some rust kill. And this helped me to get a good look at the state of the roof. There were some holes and pitting in the roof, which is a bit disappointing, but at least I know they're there and now I can deal with them. And then the final part of this section is just the spot welds at the back. Thanks for watching part 2. Pictures here and a little bit of video is just showing you what I'm going to do in part 3, which is removing a lot of the welds, grinding off a lot of metal, and getting into what hopefully will be the start of the prep to get the roof on.